Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Ball and All podcast. This is my weekly basketball podcast where I talk all things in the basketball world. This week we're talking NBA Finals, and Game 3 just happened a couple of hours ago, and so I decided to come on and give you a recap of what happened in Game 3, of what I saw, of what I thought was a pretty key here in this game. Boston were hosting their first finals game in NBA finals game since 2000 and I think it was 2010. So it's about 12 years, and so it was really good to see the Boston crowd again at the TD Garden. You can see behind me all those Celtics banners there in the rafters. They were looking for number 18 to stretch away from the Lakers. Remember, you can follow me. My name is Mpho, and you can follow me at Twitter and Instagram at Mpho and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Game 3 felt like it was a game that the Warriors needed to win. The Warriors are normally front runners in playoff games, in the playoffs that we've seen them over this 8-year span of them making NBA finals. They normally like to be front runners, so you thought this was the game they were targeting to pull away from Boston, to steal one back. They lost one in San Francisco to them. So this was the one that you kind of felt was primed for them to steal one back, especially with the physicality that they played game 2 with at home. It was slightly different this time, but it was pretty much the same. Warriors starting out slow, Boston Celtics going on a tear up front, where the Warriors going to catch them with the end of quarter play. Not this time. First quarter, the Celtics played a really great game. They just could always drive into the paint of the Warriors. They just could drive in. If they wanted to, they could. If they chose the three, and sometimes you kind of felt like sometimes some of the threes they shot, especially the Derek White threes early on in the game, you kind of felt that, no, Derek, actually put the ball on the floor and take it to the basket. Steph got in some foul trouble in the first half. He collected 3 fouls in that first half, so that they were really targeting him. Golden State ended up playing a zone. It was a 1-2-2 zone, or a box and one, if you want to call it, and that still didn't help. You're supposed to protect the paint, but Al Horford, Robert Williams III really just was sitting inside there and were able to break that zone. Al Horford, the zone breaker. I think I tweeted that at some point in the morning. And the question obviously was, how were the Celtics are able to maintain it? There were some runs that brought the Celtics back. There was a 8-0, 37-second run from the Warriors in the second half, in the second quarter, that kind of scared everyone, brought the thing back to under double digits, because it was hanging around 15, 16, 17 for a lot of that first half. They finished the first half on a 12-point lead at the Celtics. Jaylen Brown, 17 points in the first quarter. Jason Tatum started really well, really awesome. He struggled a bit at the beginning, but he then started off really well in the first half. Jason Tatum was 4 from 10 from the field, 2 from 4 from 3. He was getting there. He scored 11 points. Jaylen Brown scored 22. Marcus Smart was there, and the key thing with Marcus Smart is that he mustn't settle for the 3. If he can drive in, it gives the Celtics something, and that's what this game is, and this is something they can take going forward, is that the role players try and get to the basket as much as possible. Once those start falling, then you can start looking for the threes in and around there, and that's what it was. We saw some Bielitsa minutes in that first half, but for the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins came through with 13 points. He was really good. He ran the floor well. Klay Thompson found his rhythm. He scored 15 points, and that was a worry for the Celtics, because obviously Klay Thompson finding his rhythm. Steph with 14 points in the first half. You thought, this team knows how to play the third quarter, and they could blow this game out. And this team is a team of third quarter. So you kind of felt like, okay, maybe that second half could be the Warriors' second half. 12-point deficit. They would tell themselves that the Celtics should be a lot further in the second at halftime. And what happened was you got a 33-25 a third quarter. The Warriors just were running around now. They were cutting, they were moving. And you ask yourself, where have they been? Can they not reproduce this in all the other quarters? They can't just be a third quarter team. And they played really well in the third quarter, shot really awesome. I think it was 50% from the field and 50 from 3. Steph was running Riot. So was Clay. Clay found his rhythm again. And that was the dangerous thing for the Celtics, is to try and keep up with this Warriors team. 50% from the field, 58% from three. Steph scored 15 points. Clay scored 10 points, and that's deadly. That could kill you. That could honestly kill a team. With the Celtics really struggling, scoring 33% from three and 36% from the field. What kept them in here were the free throws. They had 7 free throws attempts, even though the Warriors had won. But the story of this game was the ability for the Celtics to dominate the paint, and largely the reason why the Warriors were able to run around and get runs is that when Robert Williams III is not on the floor, they can do that. When he is on the floor, they can't. And in the Robert Williams played 6 minutes in the third quarter, and he was +4. Everybody else was a negative plus minus. That kind of tells you his impact for that third quarter. But then moving to the fourth quarter, the Celtics were so good. They were so imperious. They really pulled through, led by Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart, who both scored 8 points each. They really did pull away, but it was largely from a defensive effort. This was Celtics defense at its best. They held their opponents at 100 points. Robert Williams III, for me, was so good in this game. He came out, I think, with 4 blocks again and 3 steals. He was imperious, 10 rebounds, and that's what it was. I think I spoke about the rebounding battle in my preview show as to who does what. The Celtics out-rebounded the Warriors. There was a point where I think the Celtics' offensive rebounds were the same as the total rebounds from the Warriors. I think that was in the first half. That kind of tells you what it was. They just won the battle in the paint. Draymond Green got fouled out. He had no answer to Jaylen Brown, who could just blow by him. Marcus Smart scoring 25 points for this team is really good, and that's the stat. I think for me, if Marcus Smart is giving you 20 plus points a game, the Celtics are most likely to win. Jaylen Brown 27 points, Jason Tatum 26 points, Al Horford came with 11, and so did Grant Williams with 10, Derek White with 7. He didn't have the best of games, but he was really good defensively. From the Warriors side, Andrew Wiggins with 18 points, Clay with 25, Steph with 31, and Jordan Poole with 10. There wasn't enough to get them over the line. But the one thing for Golden State that they can be happy with is that Clay has found some sort of rhythm from 3. He was really struggling. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they do Game 4. Game 4 is going to be really intriguing because the pressure's on Golden State to go back to the Bay at 2-2. I think if it's 2-2 in Game 5, the Warriors can pull away from the final 3 because they host the final 2 at home. If not, if the Celtics win 3-1, there's only been one team to come back from a 3-1 deficit that in the NBA Finals, and that was the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do this Warriors team have it? I'm not sure. And so if they can hold serve, the Celtics can hold serve, then it is possibly championship. It's going to be 3 championship points, and knowing they come back home to the TD Garden to finish it off, and they're a good away side. Roadside because of their defense. It's going to be pretty hard for the Warriors to come back from that. So massive game for the Warriors to come back. And it's not from a defensive, it probably is from a defensive standpoint. They're going to need to be they're going to have to find the Game 2 aggression. I thought they just weren't there. And I think the Celtics amped up their aggression a little bit more compared to what happened in Game 2. And they were just bodying people to the post the whole time. It doesn't matter if it was Andrew Wiggins, it doesn't matter if it was Draymond Green, if you were Steph, you were Clay, you're getting taken to the rack, and they could not do anything about it. And that's what the Warriors are going to have to try to figure out from there. But I also do think that they're going to need to get a little bit more creative to try and get that third quarter run a little bit earlier, but they need to figure out a plan because Robert Williams III is only playing 25 minutes. So we've got about 23 more minutes without him. You need to maximize those minutes. If not, Al Horford's really capable. Derek White's really capable in that 5 when Robert Williams III comes out. And so it's going to be quite interesting to see how they manage that. But they're going to have to try to find the weak link in that Celtics defense. You're going to have to try and make and open up a gap for Steph. The screening from the Celtics was better. Whenever Steph came off the screen, they stepped up. They didn't hedge back, and that's something that was really interesting and good to see. Outside of that, thank you very much for that. I'll be back with a recap. Remember to follow me on the socials as well as on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. Outside of that, have a great day. Enjoy Game 4. I'll be back after Game 4, which I think will be Saturday morning, to discuss what we saw at the TD Garden as the teams head back to the Bay for Game 5. But outside of that, enjoy the NBA Finals. Have been really good showcase of basketball. Have a great day. Goodbye, and lesale kakafiso.